Hello and welcome back. This is MC1 Gamer, and I wanted to provide a little bit of an update on my conversions with my Undead Legions. And I wanted to show just a few. I know some people have asked for some 360-degree views of what I've been doing with my Nagash conversion and how it's been coming out. So a lot of people commented about the base. I'll do a little bit of a turnaround on the base. There's obviously a lot more work to be done, some additional highlighting that I need to do. I want to go over the zombies and skeletons coming out of the ground a little more, do a little work on the dirt that they're coming out of as well. And of course I'm going to work a little bit more on the spirit hosts, make them look a little bit more glowy. But I've still got all these guys coming up out of the ground. And of course I manipulated so much that it kind of takes a little bit of the work for the altar, the stone. It kind of smudges off with the amount of manipulation I've been doing. But, you know, I'm not sure if you've seen any of the past videos. And let me just see if I can go grab this light so we can get a little bit of a picture. You can see that I've got the spirit host that's very nicely holding on to Nagash's staff. Worked on his scabbard, got a little more work to be done. Did a little shading, so it looks like, you know, you could see some of the shadow of the spirit hosts. Just work on, you know, them fading into the back, and so that they're not all the same exact coloration. That's somewhat of an accident, but once I started seeing it and I saw kind of how it was turning out, I decided to stick with it. So that way, you know, when you look at it from a different, you know, certain angles, you know, the spirit hosts look like they're different colors. But I'm going to brighten some of them up, especially around the actual hosts themselves, not just the tendrils. A few things that I've actually accomplished. It's hard to see with the abundance of light that I have, but I've gotten some real big progress on the book. It looks a little very glowy. I might get a little, you know, a few more lines. Really did a lot of work on the shoulder pads. Let's see if I can get a better light there. Nope. Probably need a better light system that doesn't whitewash everything. The bone may look like it's very, very bright, but it does have a very dirty quality. It's just the light I have is really bright and only coming from one direction. But I'm very happy with how it came out. Maybe that's a little bit better of a picture like that. Angle it up here. Yeah, you can probably see a little better like that. And, you know, the stitching and his little purplish wash there for the bruising. And what I really am happy with how it came out. It's a little bit too shiny, so you can't really see it with the light, but the edge highlighting on his armor. I really went by kind of paint by numbers. Let me just turn this around here. Yeah, you can see it right there a little better. I went very paint by numbers with the video that GW put out. I've watched that thing dozens of times while I'm painting, and I've followed it almost religiously. Obviously, taking into consideration the conversion that I'm doing, and there's still more work to be done. I got to work on the sword. I got to work on his Pope hat, all the books. Still have a lot more work that I want to do to kind of really bring out some more pop on the spirit hosts, and then of course on the base. But I'm really happy with the, you know, the shading, the transitions, and I've got a book that's going to be sticking right there. And I still have to do all the, you know, the side bright green and a little bit of white on all these little spots here, all the edges. I've got a few of them, so let's see if they actually show up in the picture. Yeah, there's a few that I have that I've done that actually might show. You might see a few. They're not really supposed to be that prominent. I haven't done any of the ones over here, but okay. So, and of course on his face, and what really came out, I'm hoping it comes out in the video, what really looks good, in my opinion, and where I did a lot of work on, is the highlighting of not just the bone. See, some of these bone pieces, like these pieces here, are brighter. They're not as dirty like as the shoulder pads. The shoulder pads are a little bit darker. You may be able to see the contrast. But what I did was, and just using again the cue from the video, is really put a lot of, you know, the edge highlighting, and this is more of a, you know, of a Shopti bone and screaming skull, a little bit, you know, some earth shade, and then some highlighting with, you know, white on the edges, and it really, really separates itself from the other bone. So that is coming out, I think, really great. Again, it's a little bright just because of the one light that I have. I probably need a better setup for this. I'm sure that people will comment about that. You really can't even see some of the detail I've done on the book. You know, in the layer, you know, the washes and the blending. Maybe you can see it a little bit there. But everything's coming out really good. I'm really happy with how the ribbons came out, the sword. You know, I'm doing all the little armor pieces as I go. But I think the best thing that came out was his armor here, the chest piece. You know, the decayed flesh is coming out great. You know, I'm very happy with it. So I've got a lot more work to do. What I think I'm going to do is I've been putting this guy on the table and playing with him a lot lately. You may have seen those videos and maybe some progress pictures. I'm probably going to put him aside if I do just a couple more touch-ups. And then I have a commission that I'm doing, a conversion commission that I'm doing for another YouTuber, Anthony from the Sustainable Center. I'm doing a couple of Skaven things that I've already put up in a previous video. That's what I'm tackling with next. So I won't actually finish this completely until after I do that. But you know, that's the update on Nagash. I think I'm really happy with how he's coming out. This is a long plot. People have probably been seeing that I've been doing him off and on for the last couple months, and really just wanted to get some progress so he looked better on the table in the videos. So there's Nagash. And I do have a request from the community, if people wouldn't mind. You know, I've got a little conundrum. You know, people have seen my conversion that I've done with the Crypt that I have, and I've got a couple of, you know, on unit fillers, you know, where there's multiples. I originally thought this was a lead belcher, but apparently that's the giant. You know, I've got him, you know, just with this spine. I'm gonna have like a little blood pooling down. You can see the rib cage there. For, you know, that's just a little trophy. I like having trophies on these. A lot of my unit fillers are like trophies from various armies. Just got a bunch of Sisters of Avalorn, and or whatever the sisters are that have the magical flaming whatever, the sisters from the High Elf book. I'm going to have those being chomped up a little bit by some unit filler zombies and ghouls and whatnot. So I have a bunch of these that are dual, you know, unit fillers, and then of course plenty of singles. And then I have some others, but I have enough that I could do about 16 or 18 of these guys. Not that they'll ever really be fielded that many. Maybe I've only done it once, and it was a brutal list. But what I have is, and you probably can see it a little bit in the picture, you know, I've done some grayish, and you can see if I pull out a little bit, it's a little bit grayer. You know, when I do the stone is this similar color to what I'm dry brushing with, and my goal was with these werewolfy looking Crypt was to really make them kind of black and gray, you know, skin and fur, and really just darken them up. I didn't want them to be brown. The problem is that you know, even though I was planning on washing this, and then it would show like all the recesses and details, and then I would highlight again. You know, I'd go over all these raised areas again. I'm not sure if this is gonna focus well. And let's see. The problem is it looks too much like the grayish color that I have. There's an Empire Greatsword that's unfortunately fallen on better. He's had better times. But you can see what I'm looking to do. You know, I've colored in, I've done some washes, and then I did a little dry brushing, and I'm doing the bone. But I kind of stopped, and that's because I don't want to go further and make a mistake that I can't really, you know, correct until I'm really sure with what I want to do with these, because I'm really happy with the way they came out. The problem is that I don't want them to look like the stone. I don't want them to look like, you know, stone Crypt I want them to look like werewolves. So what I'm curious is if I want to continue obviously with the coloration on the grave stones and whatnot, but what I'm curious is what people might think would look good, and maybe how I would go about it if you know, to do some coloring, you know, color patterns to really make this look like a, you know, a dark and scary looking werewolfy type crypt horror, but not. I'm not really interested in brown too much, and I don't want to go crazy and do like albino. But maybe some suggestions from people that are better painters than I. I'm still learning a lot, and I would love to get some feedback. So these guys really look incredible on the table. I mean, they usually elicit some great responses. People are very impressed with how they came out, and I'm really happy with how they came out too. I mean, I put a lot of time into getting enough that I could summon with the Lore of Undeath if I wanted to, but I made these before the Lore of Undeath, so I can make 2 teams of 8 that I could marry up to Mortis engines. 2 Mortis engines and 2 teams of 8, screening the Mortis engines. The Mortis engines making their regen go from 5 to 4, and just having a really scary. These guys have been MVP in so many battles. Just the ultimate tar pit. I mean, I could put down 8 of these guys, and somehow it's not somehow, but they'll do so much better, and certainly a lot more killy than 50 or 60 zombies. So just a fantastic unit, and they look so much scarier and so much more offensive than the regular crypt horrors. They just look like they'd be scarier offensively, but of course they're strength 4 poison. That has limitations, but they just stick. They really hold up units and then grind them down. You do not want to get into a battle where there's even 3 of these can do a job, but 6 or 8 can hold up most units, and 12 or 16 is just brutal. It's a lot of points, but it's just brutal, and I love the way they look on the table. So I really want to finish these guys up. Now that I've got Nagash really coming up on his completion. Once I finish with my the next conversion job, before I actually tackle my the next conversion job that I'm doing for myself, I want to finish painting some stuff. So I'd really like to get some opinions. Please feel free to leave it in the comment box if you have any feedback or thoughts, painting tips. If you want to put in painting tips, I'd love for you to give me like the steps that you would use, the colors and the technique. If there's a wash or a edge highlight or dry brushing, stuff like that, really would help. If you have a link to something that you've done, that would be great. I'm more than welcome, more than happy to take advice from people. And there's so many good painters out there, and I'm just learning to really start getting into the more advanced levels of painting. I've got so much more to learn, so I'd love to get advice from you guys. I mean, obviously, I'm putting this stuff up to show the kind of converting stuff that I do, and there's plenty of people that are master converters out there. I wouldn't consider myself, of course, a master, but I think I'm getting pretty good at this, especially from the responses I get from you guys who are watching the vids. But I could always use more. I mean, there's always something to learn, and there's always somebody who's got tricks and whatnot. So I'm certainly willing to hear people's advice on how I can improve whatever I'm doing with the hobby. So again, please let me know what you think. What would you do, or what would you like to see, or what you think would be awesome to actually make these guys just absolutely, just amazing on the table. They're getting there. I'm really not looking to move forward until I get a really good feel for what I want to do next with them. So help me out. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any feedback overall on what I'm doing, please feel free to leave it there. If you're new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe. I'd love to have you as a follower. Well past 500 followers now, and I would love to start pushing towards 1,000. And I've got a bunch of battle reports too with Papa Nagy, or however you want to call him. That just sounded lame. But he's not Big Daddy. You can't really call him Big Daddy. I think Papa Nurgle has already got the Papa thing. I don't know. But, Mr. Popat. I don't know. Maybe there's a good nickname for him. But people may be sick of seeing him. He's going to probably go on the shelf for a little while unless there's special scenarios that he comes out with, or against any other of the super heavyweight special characters. The game that I had today was basically a call out from a really cool guy, local guy who's big on the GT circuit, and he just wanted to face Nagash. Just wanted to see how his ETC comp Demons of Chaos list fared up against him, and I'll have that battle report out later in the week. Don't want to give anything away. But he asked for it, and we went and we had a battle, and it was a lot of fun. So we'll go ahead and show that. But I think that Nagash is going to take a little bit of a back seat unless there's a anybody really wants to see him and wants to face him, or there's specific scenarios there where he would, he would get called out onto the table. But otherwise, I think I'm going to start doing a little more, some battle reports with a couple other things from Undead Legions without, at least without Nagash. I don't know if I'll do it with a special character. Thinking maybe I'll do something with Vlad. Did a couple, scenarios from the Nagash book with one of the Mortarks. I might pull out another Mortark, since one of my conversions is converting it up, so I can swap out the different Mortarks. But all that stuff is set to come. I've got some commentary coming with Warhammer stuff that people have seen. Of course, I'm going to show more pictures of stuff as opposed to pictures of me. I kind of it was a little funny, a little snarky. One of these guys said, "Can we see more pictures of of the work that you're doing as opposed to videos of you talking and looking into the camera?" Yeah, way to go. Way to go. Feed my ego. I was a little worried about setting up the webcam anyway, so people didn't have to see my mug. But yeah, I think I'll do that a little bit more and save my pretty face for somebody who's legally contracted to look at it every day, and that's my wife. And I'll let you guys see more of the stuff that I'm working on instead. In any case, hope you're enjoying this stuff. Thank you for following and for tuning in. And everybody, I hope you have a great day.